intersection of good drinks, good music, and good times. This is Hops and Spirits Bar Conversations.
We've got another fun episode for you this week. I've been looking forward to having these guys on. Stumbled upon their music, I'd say maybe a year ago, and have really enjoyed it ever since. Their latest single, Drunk Prayer, is out now. These guys are better known as Lakeview, but welcome in Jesse Denaro and Luke Healy.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Hell yeah.
Now, for those watching, who's who, just so they know.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Luke.
Well, guys, I really appreciate this. This is Bar Conversations. I've poured myself a little bourbon that I figured, spoke to me about you guys. Never say die bourbon. I figured that's good since the journey that you guys have been on in the industry. You guys got anything good tonight?
We're just keeping it simple. Just drinking Jack Daniels.
Yeah, we don't know the finer things in life really. Like if you showed me the best whiskey or best bourbon in the world, I would be like, yeah, that's cool. I wouldn't even know the difference probably. I mean, I'm sure if I tasted it, I would, but like, we just keep it simple, man.
I mean, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Honestly, Jack's not a bad one to be going with.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Gentleman Jack too is a nice one too. That's if we're feeling fancy.
Yeah, if you're feeling real fancy, like a high class gentleman. If I'm feeling like a gentleman, you gentleman with Jack. You gentleman with Jack.
There you go.
Now, obviously you enjoy the finer things, a good whiskey. Is whiskey your go-to drinks most nights? A beer, tequila? What might you dabble in on occasion?
Honestly, try and keep it clear. Usually, nice little Tito's and Sprite, little Tito's and soda, Tito's and sugar-free Red Bull. It's just the hangovers on those are much easier, especially on the road. Got to keep it clean,
Yeah, try to somehow break even on the not being able to work out all the time and this and that. It's definitely a little bit nicer to drink like the tequilas or the Tito's. You know what I mean? But if we're shooting shots, it's always whiskey for me. I mean, it's always whiskey.
I like it. Now, do you guys have a ritual before every show or anything that you got to have a certain drink or do a certain thing, anything like that?
Yeah, we always take a shot of whiskey just to loosen you up, get the nerves out, get feeling good.
Yeah, and sometimes
I've always heard that's good on the vocals too, right? Warms them up.
Yeah, it warms you up. Oh yeah,
it does, especially if they're in pain from the show the night before. Yeah. It's you just kind of forget about the pain and also don't care if you don't sound that great.
Yeah.
But that would never happen with y'all, right? You always sound great every night.
No way.
Nope. Yeah, no, we went a little too hard once on tour with Mitchell Tenpenny, and I actually had no voice, so we just sang everything much lower, and it was. People didn't realize, but we realized.
It was, yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
So we've learned our lesson.
I was gonna say you put that forward, and it's something you've learned. Now, I've got to ask this because, folks, if you're watching, you can kind of see the guys have a couple tattoos, just a couple, I think. So how many do you guys have, and is there an interesting one or story that you want to share about any of them?
I mean, at this point, I don't know the number. It's just kind of...
Yeah, with our level of how many we have, it's like kind of like, I got my sleeve done, or I got my arms done, and I got my chest done, my back done. Jesse got his legs done too. It's like, yeah, we don't really count. You
lose count. Is what it is.
Yeah.
You definitely lose count.
Yeah, and you lose count of how much money this shit costs too. So, luckily we've had
That's
some.
why you guys keep singing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think.
Any good stories?
I mean, I have really bad asthma, so I have a tattoo of an inhaler on my leg, and it says "Ain't easy being wheezy." So that's probably the craziest tattoo that I have. It's insane. But you put all the joke tattoos on your legs so that when you wear pants, nobody knows. No, that's
dropping some knowledge.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know if I have anything like too crazy that's like some weird story, but
I mean, most of our tattoos were done like in a house by a friend.
Yeah.
So super sanitary, very safe, you know.
Pretty good though. I mean, I'll
Not
be honest.
completely.
I'm like, they're pretty good tattoos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
So,
like
so no drunken 3 a.m. stumbling down the street in Nashville, hopping in a random tattoo parlor then.
Haven't done that. No, I haven't done that yet, but I'm not opposed to it.
yeah, I think I've only been tattooed by people I know, like personal friends, you
Yeah.
know. So that's like something I enjoy is like making sure like I almost like I don't want to say it doesn't matter what I get. Definitely, it's a collaboration of what's happening and what we're getting. It's just like I also feel good about someone who cares about me and loves me or whatever. That's like working on it together, and it's like I trust this person to tattoo something good on me, even if it is in somebody's attic. You know.
Well, it doesn't sound like anything too crazy there, but I did see you guys post something the other day on your social media, Instagram, story time there, and I got to hear the story because y'all broke down in the desert, and it was quite a journey to get
Yeah.
to the next show.
Yeah. Yeah, no, our van, it exploded in the desert. We called the tow truck, and the tow truck broke down. And then they called another tow truck. We were able to get it out of the desert into, we'll call it a city, but nothing was there.
Yeah, all of our phones said "Welcome to Mexico."
Yeah, it's basically Mexico.
Yeah.
And yeah, they didn't have any. There was no more vans left or trucks left at Enterprise because we had a show that night in 4 hours, and we're like, okay. So we rented a U-Haul box truck, hooked the trailer to it, got in the back of the box truck, and drove from El Centro to Phoenix in the back of the box truck. It was 4 hours. On the way there, we got stopped by Border Patrol because they thought we were like crossing over
trafficking.
human
Yeah.
trafficking or
Yeah.
something like that.
Which
And
we were some humans in traffic at
we
that
were,
time.
yeah, we were. But yeah, it was the day. It was a day from hell, but we had to do it because we sold out the show that night in Phoenix, and we were just like, we got to do it. We gotta go
Yeah.
play for the folks. So if you're from Phoenix and you're watching this, you owe us one big time for
Tell you
sure.
what, by the time we got there, I don't think I've ever felt like not playing a show more in my life. And I played a lot of crazy shows in my life. A lot of weird things, a lot of weird situations, backs of truck stops, Chinese restaurants. I mean, just anything you can imagine. And this was a nice venue, nice place. I mean, packed house. It was awesome. Everybody's so appreciative, so thankful. I was just like, man, I never felt so drained
Yeah.
in my life. It was just horrible. Like, but a couple shots, a couple beers, and we just started ripping it, man. Just brought it home.
Did it? Yep.
I love it. My wife likened it to Home Alone. We're trying to get home and just trying every which way and ending up in the back of the box truck. At least I assume you enjoyed your company, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was. I tell you what, it was so hot in the back of this box truck, and we had the door open too. So we thought like the amount of airflow, and we were in the desert. It was like the sun was going down. It wasn't that, it cools off like really fast. That box truck didn't, man. I mean, it was just hotter than hell laying on that floor, that wooden floor, of that thing. And it was loud too. There was like a loose slotted boards. Like they have those boards in there to hook up for ratchet straps. There was one that was like broken a
It was
little bit,
just slapping
and it
the
was
whole-
just slapping like I mean
forgot
like
about
like a bat out of hell, man. Like hard as hell the whole time, 4.5 hours, man.
Yeah.
It's just.
It is miserable.
Yeah, it was a test. It was a test, man, for sure. Yeah, what was
Well, but you're doing what you love.
Yeah.
yeah,
You're doing what you love, and you get some.
You got to get in the mindset like you're being tortured by the government, and you just like
Yeah, you
can't
just-
break.
yeah,
you
just
know,
don't
where you
break.
just like don't move, like and just like if you move, you could feel how hot and sweaty your back was. But if you don't move at all, it's also
You're
almost
fine.
like you just gotta pretend like you're on just a warm blanket and it's winter time and it's freezing. And the FBI wants to get something out of you, and you ain't gonna rat on your friends.
Yeah.
Or the Border Patrol.
Or the Border Patrol.
Yeah, or the Border
Although that dude, it was really cool, man. Actually, it was pretty crazy. Jesse was like, "Oh, it's the first time you ever seen bunch of white guys in the back of one of these. He goes, actually, yeah, it is. He goes, I'm assuming y'all all have like IDs and stuff. And we're like, yeah.
Yeah, we
He
do.
goes, all right. And then he ended up knowing Jelly Roll somehow. It was really kind of a crazy situation, but he was sitting there. He wanted to, he probably would have stayed there and talked to us all night, but we were like,
Dude, we still
hey,
got
dude,
2 hours.
like
yeah.
we've been fighting since like 9 a.m. to get to this show, man. Like we gotta go. But he let us loose, so it was cool.
Oh, I love that, and I also got to ask, how did you all meet? Because I know when I guess the initial meeting where you kind of became acquaintances, while we're talking kind of country music, maybe some southern or some rock, little rock and country, you were in different metal groups. So I feel like that's an interesting transition that we'll get to. But how did y'all meet?
Yeah, we actually met like back in 2010 or 11. Luke was playing a show in Florida, and I was living in Florida at the time, and my band actually opened up for his band, and we just kind of played in the same scene, and from there, just were kind of acquaintances. And then I moved to Pittsburgh in 2013 or something like that, and yeah, we met at a Memorial Day party through a mutual friend, and I was like, "Hey, you're that fucking guy," and he was like, "Yeah." Then we just kind of kicked it off from there and hit it off and started working together, like bouncing and building in-ground pools and all this other stuff, and we just ended up writing songs together, kind of at the end of the workday, and kind of what just naturally came out of that was kind of that influence style of the country stuff with the rock stuff, and just kind of we didn't really have an idea for what we were doing and why we were doing it. It was just an outlet, and we just when you're writing for no reason, you just kind of allow yourself to do whatever the hell you want, and that's kind of just how we ended up where we're at now.
Yeah, we were both like pretty much just done with music professionally in any way, shape, or form. We both had at that point, like maybe a year or two prior, just kind of disbanded our old bands or our old projects, and we're like, all right, like even though we already are grown ups, we gotta start like really getting shit together. But you can't stop like creating. You can't stop. You can't just hang that up. You can't unplug that, and if it's in you, what I mean. And even though we did try, but yeah, we were just doing it for fun. We always we're listening to the country constantly. I mean, we both grew up in the same type of family situation. We weren't allowed to listen to a lot of music when we were kids, so it was either How Great Is Our God or you're listening to if it was Johnny Cash or freaking Garth Brooks. You know what I mean? Like it's like that. That's like the stuff we were allowed to listen to as kids growing up. So I think looking back on it, it's like writing songs our whole lives. We were writing country songs, except the metal stuff, obviously. But like on our own time, we were writing this stuff all the time at a younger age, and we just didn't realize they were like country songs. You know what I mean? It was kind of crazy how it worked out. And as a young man, it was like, yeah, I didn't really love country. I didn't really draw, except the older, some of the old stuff I just grew up. It always takes me back to going fishing with my dad or whatever. That's one thing I always loved about country is that it takes you somewhere. And shit, I forgot where I was going with this, but yeah, I think as the older we got, all those old songs, they start making sense, and reflecting on all these songs. Like you hit a certain, I mean, for men and women, you hit a certain point in your life and go, oh shit, okay, this does all, you can really connect to it. You can't when you're 14, 15 in high school, and it's like, yeah, you might till a field, or you might whatever. You might actually live physically in the country or whatever, and you might love that stuff. But to connect with what we're talking about, at least in our songs, kind of have to have some stripes on you. You have to have some experience a couple of years going of maybe some hard times or what it's like to really survive in this world and pay your dues. So yeah, it just always it just came back to that, and ours just happens to rock a little bit harder than most because we just love sick ass guitar tones and riffs and heavy drums and shit.
Yeah.
Because
why not?
the shit's sick. I mean, that's it. Like, it's just cool.
No, I love it. And speaking of those, life experiences, I found this fascinating because I know this is how you guys met because what brought you to Pittsburgh was a girl, and lo and behold, unbeknownst to either of you, you had dated this same girl. Is that right? And she broke both of your hearts?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it was that. Yeah, Jesse showed up to that party with my like high school girlfriend that like, it was like the first girl in my life that was like everybody was like, dude, they're gonna get married. You know what I mean? Like it was like, I mean, how serious can something be at that age? But it was like, it felt serious, and then all this time elapsed, and here he comes walking into my best friend's Memorial Day party with my high school girlfriend, who's fiance to him at the time, and I'm like, what in the hell is this? Like, this is just what a crazy coincidence. I thought it was funny. We both thought it was funny.
Yeah, it was fucking
It
hilarious.
didn't really
She didn't
affect.
think it was funny, but
Oh
we thought it
yeah,
was funny.
she definitely was not for sure, but we didn't give a shit, Just you're grown men. Everybody knows life changes and all that, and we got right to it. We just got to work. We started working all the time and started writing songs, and just for our friends to hear. And we still do that. I mean, that's the way it is. It's like we didn't have a mission statement to make ourselves a bunch of money or like, somehow make us celebrities or anything like that. Those were gone a long time ago. Believe me, we tried to do that shit with our old projects, but this stuff is still fully a passion project. I mean, we work harder on it now because we have to try to keep food on the table. But it's for the working class folks of the world that need something to listen to that isn't always super depressing. I mean, we have some depressing stuff, but we want it to be something that any dude is proud to roll both windows down and blast it going down the street. You know what I mean? And I think we're doing that. I mean,
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, where does the name? Obviously, as you guys came along, things came together, and you started doing this. Where does the name Lakeview come from? Because I know there's rivers in in Pittsburgh in that area. Maybe not as many lakes.
Yeah, it was we kind of started the whole thing on a road called Brookview, which is where his parents live, and that's kind of where all of this kind of stemmed from. Brookview isn't the coolest name ever, and we kind of like the idea of it sounding super familiar, and when you hear it, you immediately think of something, and you go somewhere in your mind.
both of our families like didn't have a ton of money growing up, so it was like our vacation.
It was
You went to this lake.
Shitty lake.
Yeah, you went to this fucking lake that was fucking brown as shit, and you would fish, and you might swim in it, but I'll tell you what, those were the best memories we ever had, and we're like, what? Like, who never had like those memories? I don't know. I mean, maybe there's people out there that don't, but
Yeah.
that was our upbringing, and we want this to be a good time. We want that feeling. We want that name and all that. That's why we tied that together to be like about having a good time, man. Like,
Yeah.
get your mind off things.
No, it makes perfect sense to me. Now, you kind of talked about this where you grew up maybe not being able to listen to a ton of different music, but did you guys grow up wanting to play music and kind of do that stuff, or did that come later? When did the music bug finally bite you?
Yeah, I mean, my mom was a worship leader for 25 years. My dad was a drummer and a singer ever since he was a kid, and he did it professionally for a while. So like I grew up from ever since I can remember playing music, singing, writing songs, playing at church, and doing all that stuff. And it's like when you grow up in church, like we both did, it's like the second you can be useful somewhere, especially as a young man, you're like, you feel really good about it, and you're like, I want to be involved somehow. And I think we both gravitated towards just like the creating of it, the creative side of it, and the music of it, and just started, playing guitar, and we're able to get plugged in and be useful in that way. And yeah, just from there, it just keeps going and keeps going. Once you start, it's you just keep going, and you start terrible bands with your friends, and break up, and then start another terrible band with your friends, and then go on tour in your terrible band, and just keep going until do it enough times until something works.
Yeah, I think it was my dad had this Yamaha guitar that this acoustic guitar that my mom got him out of a Sears catalog a long time ago. And my dad never had a guitar lesson, but he knew how to play like Tom Dooley and fucking Sloop John B and all these songs, and Johnny Cash songs, and and I remember like sitting there all the time trying to play these songs, like as far as I remember. It was like some pictures. I was the last of like my siblings born, so there was barely any pictures of me when I was a baby. But I remember just being obsessed with the guitar, and I remember like even trying to write songs as soon as I could play three chords consistently. Even if I had to stop in between them and like reset my fingers, I was like already trying to write songs. Like I definitely 100% wanted to do music, for sure, no doubt.
Well, and you kind of touched on this, kind of growing up at least around some country music. I know Jesse, you grew up outside of New York City. Luke, born and raised in Pittsburgh. What impact did that guy have on y'all, and maybe your musical influences or just life influences?
Yeah, I mean, I think like where I grew up in New York was, I mean, my neighbor, like right down the road is all, like I think people's misconception of New York is that you have the city and then that's all it is. Like where I grew up is very, very rural. It's all farms and apple orchards and stuff like that. So I think we kind of grew up having the similar experiences, just doing crazy shit with your friends, and that influences you. And you have a lot of like when you live in a place like that, it's like you have a lot of time on your hands, and that's kind of what lends to making music and doing stuff. I mean, some of the best bands in the world are from the most weird places, like the middle of Kansas and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's like not a lot of bands are like, yeah, we're from New York City or we're from Los Angeles. It's like it's a very when you got nothing to do, you find something to do, and that thing that we decided to do was to make music and go on tour, and yeah, so.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh is more country than Nashville.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most country, blue collar country city you'll find in America. You drive through a tunnel, over one bridge, and then you're already out of the city, and it's rural as shit. I mean, I grew up shooting deer out my parents' back door. You know what I mean? Like that's, and I lived 8 minutes from downtown. Yeah, from downtown, like actual like downtown Pittsburgh. I lived 8 minutes from there, and it's like that's just how we grew up. Wood burning furnace, woods everywhere. You know what I mean? Like it was just that's just how it was, and everybody's blue collar shit there, and it's like you worked a trade. Everybody did. Unless if you were a nurse or a cop, that was it. Everybody else, plumber, roofer, steel worker. I mean, that was just a normal way of living. And honestly, I mean, country is the biggest genre of music. If you just want to say musically, is the biggest genre in that city. Like my old band was like the absolute outcast of like getting any sort of real following in my hometown, because everybody wanted to hear AC/DC or they wanted fucking Kenny Chesney, But yeah, dude, it's definitely it's to this day still way more country there than it is here in Nashville, for sure.
I was gonna say I know a few bands that went out to Star Lake, either had Vans Warped Tour or like Rascal Flatts. So
Yep.
That's where you learn how to do it, man.
I get that.
Or anything.
And in addition to where you guys grew up, like you said, you kind of were just your family listened to country music. So I'm guessing obviously there were some artists in there that influenced you. But as you grew up, I'm sure you maybe snuck in some different music and artists that maybe they didn't always let you listen to. So who were your influences as you grew up, and maybe you still are to this day?
Nickelback, 100%. Yeah, it was definitely one that wasn't really allowed to be listening to. Nickelback for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a ton, but I mean, we still get influence from. I mean, some of those old worship songs and some of those old songs that were like safe to listen to. Like if you go back and listen to them, man, I mean, they're fucking awesome songs. Just at the time, you're like rebelling against your parents, and you're like, I don't want to listen to this. I don't want to listen to whatever, But yeah, I mean, Nickelback is a huge one for both of us. And then we have other ones, but that would definitely be like the main one for sure.
Yeah, I think
Well, and then obviously you guys. Oh, go for it.
Oh no, sorry. I was just saying that whole era of rock. I mean, the Puddles of Mud, Three Doors Down, all that. I mean, they were just absolute Stain. They were just that was the best era of rock for me. I mean, I know there's some older head out there somewhere that's like, I don't give a shit, dude. Those songs are collectively, you could turn on the radio and be happy with 5 songs in a row. And it just doesn't happen anymore. It just really don't. That was the golden era of rock for me.
Well, I was gonna say, in one of those, Stained, Aaron Lewis basically doing sort of what you guys are doing, if we're being honest.
Yep. Came up in a very similar background as us, the church boy, grew up in the sticks, and you just, it's the same old, you get back to that point where it's like, you know what, man, like I did all this and I did all that, but like I really want some of these songs where I want to say a message and people first off, understand what the hell we're saying, but also like there's a need for what we're doing, and that's and I want to fulfill that need. We didn't realize that there was such a need to do it until we, our friend got a hold of our music, and then this whole roller coaster started happening with Lakeview. But like now that we're here, it's like this is what I want to do, and it comes from a real place. Like it comes from, and believe me, y'all, like we have the scars to prove this. Like I ain't gonna be able to walk probably in like 3 years. So like we're gonna do it the best we can while we still can.
Well, hopefully you're still standing up in more than 3 years, or if not, they're willing you out there. but what was it like for y'all to make that jump from Pittsburgh down to Nashville? Kind of take that leap.
You gotta tell the story, dude.
To be honest, it was very easy. I mean, the nature of what we've been doing for our entire lives has been work some shitty job, then go on tour for 3 months, and then come back home, and you're only home for a few months, and then you get back on the road. So like, we don't have a ton of attachment. We were just in Pittsburgh, and we ended up talking to our friend Brock Berryhill, who's a massive songwriter here. He's written for Brantley Gilbert and Kane Brown, and he heard some of the songs we did and was like, you guys should live in Nashville. If you're actually trying to do this, these songs are amazing. Just come down here and keep doing it. And that's all me and Luke needed. That night, we go out, get incredibly drunk at the Rochester Inn in Pittsburgh. While we're there, we just swiped through our phone on the calendar app and just stopped and just put a date in the calendar and said, moving to Nashville this day. And then we just fucking did it. We just packed up and just did it. Yeah.
We had no place to live, no jobs, nothing.
Just did it.
We just packed up. My boss let me borrow his landscaping trailer at the time, and I had my brother drive that down. I had my truck loaded down too, and we just rolled on down here. Got a storage unit for a day. Immediately started looking around for places to live. Found a place to live. couldn't move in till like 2 days later. Stayed at our friend's house. That thank God for a friend here. Just like they weren't even here too, which was crazy. They were like on vacation or something. They're like, "No, we unlocked the door." Like dude, I never even met this person. It was somebody Jesse knew. It was really funny, and we just stayed in their house for 2 days. By the next day, we all had jobs.
Had a
Thank
house.
God. Jesse updated my Indeed and was like, "Yo, dude, I got a job," and started it the next day.
Yeah.
And I worked with that guy still to this day. I still work with him.
I love it. It's amazing how sometimes it works, and I feel like this is a perfect segue for your latest single, Drunk Prayer. In a sense, I feel like you kind of just did it, said it, let's do it. And but how did that song come to be for y'all? And because I'm guessing it's not exactly from that night, but maybe it has a little bit of history there.
Yeah, that actually when we went to write that song, that was right when we first moved here. That song's pretty old, but we knew we had something special after we wrote it. But that was actually a day where we were supposed to write with a bigger writer here in town, and they just blew us off, which was happening to us all the time. But we already called off work. I mean, writing a song at that time, calling off work to write a song at that time in our lives. I mean, up until relatively recently, that means like you're not paying a bill that month. Like you're gonna go absent without something. I mean, there would be weeks where we only ate popcorn every day, no lie. But we said, "Fuck it, dude. We're still writing a song. I don't care." Like, and me and Jesse just buckled down and started working on just getting some music. Jesse started writing some music, and I was like, okay, yeah, this feels like, I was like, dude, I have this idea called Drunk Prayer, and I was inspired from my brother, who prayed over me and my best friend when we were little kids, like not little kids, but we were like young teenagers, and he was super drunk, but he was also home from Bible school at the time, and it was like one of the most powerful prayers I probably ever in my life. It was pretty amazing, like, moment that you just can't relive that, and it was so authentic and it was raw. I mean, there was cussing, there was crying, and there was all kinds of craziness. And I think he passed out or something, threw up and passed out. But the next day he was like, "Man, I'm so sorry. That was a terrible example for y'all, and like, I shouldn't have done that." And I was like, "Dude, I thought it was awesome." He's like, "No, dude, God doesn't hear drunk prayers," and I'll never forget that. I think I was like 13 or something when that happened, but I was like, "There's no way." I think He does. I think that's like the rawest, most authentic you sometimes, and I think everybody's been there. I don't know. It might just be us or whatever, but I think everybody's been that point where maybe you just drank so much and it's not even. You're not even praying about feeling better or not getting sick or like, "I'm sorry for drinking something." You just find yourself start praying, and I think that's like I don't know, knocks down that wall that we try to keep up all the time, and it's interesting to find. It's like, I wonder if God does actually hear these prayers. So we wrote a song about that.
No, it's a great song, and it's cool that that stuck with you for as long as it did, and then obviously then to kind of stick with it and eventually put it out. It's pretty awesome. Was there any reason you guys kind of went back to it and were like, now's the time, or just it just felt right?
Yeah, I mean, we just
I think we always knew we were gonna put it out.
yeah, just being an independent band now, that we can do whatever we want. So we kind of just literally put out whatever the hell we want, whatever we really enjoy, and what we know that people will enjoy. Just being able to like learn more about our audience and going and play these shows and meeting these people and learning their stories and stuff like that. Like we have a really cool demographic of people that like what we do, and I think they love the Home Teams and Son of a and those songs that kind of rock hard and a little bit more rowdy, but there's a huge part of them that also can connect with that song, and I think not to brag, but I think we fucking nailed it on that one. I mean, I love that song.
Yeah, I think we always knew we were going to put it out. I think it was God's timing on that one too. Just because at the time, like Jesse was saying, we're independent now, but we were briefly signed to a deal when we first moved here, and they didn't really care about that song. They didn't care about a lot of the songs that you've heard in the last recently, but recently. It was kind of like they would push those to the wayside. But I think it was God's timing, because I think we needed to get the platform we have now for people to hear, to really get to hear that song. Because I think that song's kind of beyond us, and it's more than just us. I think there's a lot of people that just had to hear it, and I don't think they would have heard it if we would have released it back then. But it never like, we never forgot about that one. That one's. I mean, there's a lot of songs in there. Like we have a lot of songs written in a handful of years here, and but that one there we never forgot about.
I was gonna say, you mentioned like Home Team, different things. You guys have been able to release several singles over the past few years, couple maybe each year. How has that been to kind of put out some stuff on your own, see how it goes, but still give people some new stuff to listen to?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the coolest part of it is that you have. I mean, there's a lot of really, really, really shitty stuff about the internet, but the massive pro is that you have immediate feedback, so we can put stuff out and people can consume it, and they tell us like, dude, we love this song, and it's like, okay, cool. Or we go play it live, and we can play whatever we want, and we're getting real time feedback of what the people that like what we do, they're telling us what they like, and from the jump, like we only do this so that other people can enjoy it. There's no no misconception here that without people enjoying it, we would be living in Pittsburgh doing fucking absolutely nothing. So it's awesome to be able to use that freedom to just test stuff out and put stuff out that we know people will enjoy. Maybe if country radio doesn't like it or whatever, we don't really care, because the people that actually matter are the people in Omaha, Nebraska, and Lubbock, Texas, and fucking Sacramento, California. Like, those are the people that actually matter. So it's been really cool to see people connect with the songs that we've been creating, and kind of forging our own little path here in Nashville and then throughout the rest of the country touring.
Yeah, it's been a blessing to be able to have the freedom to drop this stuff and not be overly concerned about timings and budgets and whatever the hell is their reasons. It's nice to be able to, like, okay, we like played a little clip of this demo and everybody loved it. And it's like, okay, well, let's put this one out. Like we do this for them, for all of y'all. And it's like, it's just the honest truth. And we're gonna keep on doing it, if you like it or not.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, I think everyone's enjoying it, right? I mean, otherwise, like you said, you probably wouldn't keep doing it. And when I think of some of my favorites, obviously I love Drunk Prayer, Son of a, Hits Different, Poor One. Those songs, you have such a clever way with words, or with how a lyric might go, and you might be thinking it's going one way, and you kind of flip it to something else. What's it like to write a Lakeview song? Like, what's going through your mind when you guys are having maybe some fun with words or sentences?
You nailed it, dude. It's fun. Yeah. Like we try to have fun. We write our music. Me and Jesse write every song, and usually we'll bring in a third or a fourth writer, like our best friend Cody Quistat, and our best friend Quint Collins, dude. And we get to write all these songs with these guys, and it's fun because they're our actual friends. So it's when you're coming up with these word plays, or like, hey, it's just shit that we've thought about. It's like, dude, that's a cool little flip on a word. It's like, oh, dude, actually, this whole situation could work into this small idea that, and then it's like we have this little clever twist, and then it's like everybody's like, oh yeah, this is fun. You know what I mean? It's just fun. Like you got to have fun doing it, man. Otherwise, it's trash. You know what I mean?
No, I totally get it. And like I said, I think that's probably what drew me in, was just because of how clever it is. But there's, like you said, there's still at the core of it that country style song where people can see themselves in it, whether it's Drunk Prayer or Pour One, where it's not exactly what you think it is. It's folks that have had a difficult time. So I'm guessing that's too where that country influence a long time ago shows itself.
Yeah, because we're them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we are them. We are those folks. No doubt.
And obviously, like I said, Drunk Prayer came out at the beginning of January, I think. Any more music coming? Maybe an album, an EP, or
Yeah.
just see where everything takes you?
Yeah, we're doing a couple singles, and then we're gonna drop an album in the spring. We're gonna be announcing some touring in April and some stuff in July and June. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming for sure.
I love that. I'm excited for that. Hopefully you come my way. Maybe come by Kentucky if you can.
Yep.
um,
Yeah, we love
you
Kentucky.
know,
We love it.
I love to hear that because I have a feeling, like you said, you guys, even when maybe you've partied too hard the night before, y'all still like to bring some energy to the stage. What are your live shows like?
I mean, insane. Usually, we go hard. We do. There's no other way about it. That's the one thing that we are good at is playing music live. We've been doing it since we were kids. So, if I'm going to brag on us at all, it's going to be we're better than your favorite band live, and it's way more fun. And our goal is to create an experience and a good time, and not just you come to a bar and you watch a band and they play their songs. Like, we got people jumping on the stage, we got people screaming the lyrics, we're headbanging, we're having a good time. So it's if you come to a Lakeview show, you're in for a fucking ride. That's for sure.
Yeah, if you ain't gonna turn up with us, I mean, you're just gonna stand there and watch a bunch of dudes turn the fuck up. I mean, that's just it. Like we are relentless on that because it's just, dude, let's create a memory together. That's what we want to do with everybody at our shows. Create a memory together, something that we won't forget and they won't ever forget.
No, I love to hear that because I think that's at the end of the day, being able to truly connect, even at the live show, is really where memories are made and fans are made for life. And I always love to ask this question toward the end: is there a favorite song that y'all love to perform, whether it's yours or maybe someone else's? There's just a song or two that you just every now and then have to perform because it's just so much fun.
Oh man, that's such a tough question.
I mean, I love our song "By Now," which is, if you heard the recording, it's you listen to it next to Home Team or whatever and be like, oh, Home Team sounds like it'd be more fun. But the song "By Now," just because I just love that song and the way people have kind of caught on to it, which we weren't really expecting. That's for sure my favorite one to play.
Yeah, I think it's a tough pick for me, man. It's I just love all of them so much. If you pick By Now, I have to say Home Team. Home Team is just like it's an anthem for all the folks out there. Just that some days you felt like you got forgotten, like what you do isn't important. It's not true. We keep this shit running. We're the ones that keep this country running. Don't ever think you waking up and just going in and punching that clock isn't. It's more than that. If we all stopped doing that, this shit would just stop. And so like that song's about that, and that's that song almost gets emotional for me, and I'm not I ain't a pussy or anything, but like that song is like a powerful moment with the crowd for me. You know what I mean? I just get so pumped up because it's so real, and so I can see it in all their eyes, like they did take what we were trying to put out to them, like a thank you, more than a thank you. It's a pride statement. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, Home Team. In short answer.
I like it. Well, because how cool was it when I know, I don't know if you're hockey fans. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. Maybe Penguins fans. I don't know. But how cool was it that Dallas the Stars use that as their their kind of opener for the team.
Yeah, that's literally fucking awesome. Yeah. We saw that video. And we knew it was happening. And we had kind of assumed that maybe they would just use like a little bit of the chorus or something like that. And then we saw somebody filmed it and sent it to us. And they used like the whole song with the lights and the video. And the dudes are on the ice like skate. I'm like, dude, this
They
is...
used way more of the song than we thought.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Seeing that for the first time, I was like, holy shit. That's cool. So, yeah, we love the Stars, the Penguins. Come on.
Yeah,
figure it out.
definitely Pens fans. But I'll have to say I am a Dallas Stars fan now.
Now we're big Dallas Stars fans.
I love the Dallas Stars because they get it. They heard that song, they understood it, and so whoever's part of their team that's out there picking music, man, thank you so much, and thanks to that whole franchise to be able to use our song and it connect with so many people in that platform too. Every time they do that, we get like, I don't even know how many Shazams. Like people are just trying to figure out what song that is, because they want to hear it again. And it's really amazing. It's life changing. It really is.
I was gonna say it's a cool way to connect with people, and obviously they, like I said, that when it comes down to music, it's seeing themselves in it, and they saw themselves there, and it's a cool way to introduce them to you all. And I guess as I wrap this up, anything else folks can expect from y'all in 2024? I know you kind of mentioned an album, some tours. Anything else that you can say? I would say just stay out of trouble, but since you're independent, I'm assuming you guys are all clear.
We'll be good. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, we stay in trouble. That's why we stay independent.
Yeah. No, I mean, we just got music and shows. We're going to be launching like a little, kind of like a fan club where you can get like exclusive merch and tickets and songs that no one else will hear. So all that stuff, we're kind of in the works of rolling it out. And we'll be posting about it on Instagram. Just follow us at Lakeview Country on Instagram, and you'll get all the info you need. And if you dig it, hit us up on Instagram, give us a follow, go to Spotify, help your boys out.
Yeah, I mean we're super excited about the fan club thing, and it's not. We're trying to make this a little bit cooler than most of the fan club things that you see out there. We want to get back with. I mean, we're going to probably lose quite a bit of money doing something like this, but we want to have those specialty items that are, that gets you the free meet and greets and things like that at the shows, and it's going to give you teasers of the albums that nobody else is going to hear for way ahead of time. Which we're so excited about because that's like we are dying to drop all this stuff, So for anybody who really cares and really gives a shit about this, for them to be a part of that and us get to share those before everybody else does, like we're so stoked on that. That makes us so happy.
Well, I think that folks deserve that because, like I said, just being able to hear your music, see what you guys have done. If you haven't, folks, give them a listen because I think you will greatly enjoy their music. I have, and guys, thanks for sharing a drink with me and your story, and this has been a blast.
Awesome, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Find more from Hops and Spirits at hopspirits.com.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.